Hey everyone, this is Cindy, and you're listening to Cindy Hales Show, and this is going to be episode number 3. This episode is featuring Carlos Sievert of Gracie Barra. This episode is just like the previous one. It was recorded back in October of 2018, and I'm just getting around to putting it out. But even if it's a little old, it's still a great conversation. A lot of things have changed, but a lot of things have stayed the same. Carlos and I both love Jiu Jitsu. It was a great time talking about where he came up, how he started his Jiu Jitsu journey, talking about competition, talking about teaching, kind of learning the lessons of Jiu Jitsu, some of the struggles of being a full-time coach. And yeah, it was a great conversation, and I'm really excited to share it with you. I hope you enjoy it. And I also have lots of other new episodes coming out while we're still kind of in the lockdown. So check back, cindyhales.com. Like I said, lots of new episodes coming out. But until then, let's enjoy the episode today with Carlos Sievert of Gracie Barra. Okay, I'm here with Carlos Sievert from Gracie Barra, Bellevue. And Carlos, it's great to sit down and talk with you, like not just in class, but like actually hang out and have some time to talk. So let's start first, just for people can get an idea about you. Like, how did you start Jiu Jitsu? Where did you start Jiu Jitsu? And let's start there.
All right, first, thank you, Cindy. Always a pleasure to have you also by my side, too, for we can talk not just, like you say, Jiu Jitsu, about life. And I started Jiu Jitsu in 1999, right after I used to do in judo, but I didn't was watching one of the first Jiu Jitsu match I had an opportunity to watch was Valide Ismail against Royce Grace.
Oh.
Yeah. Then I saw Valide Ismail putting the Royce Grace to sleep on a choke called clock choke. Was incredible because for me it's like Valide Ismail used to train with Carson Grace, which is Royce Grace's uncle, you know. And that to show me the power for me for Jiu-Jitsu. Then, and the next day I was in the Jiu-Jitsu gym.
And then you started.
You started training.
How old?
I was like, we talk about like 19 years ago. I was like a 13 to 14.
Okay, so you are like started as a kid.
Yeah, since I was a kid. Well, for me, it was the best. You know, it was like no worry about anything. It was just need to grab your gear and go training and enjoy the time.
I wish I would have started as a kid. I didn't even know it existed. I wish I would have wrestled or done something, but I started at 26. So I like to meet people that start, like older people start as adult or as kids.
Nice. And I will say, I wish I had started a little bit early. Like I have a lot of students. I know you do have a lot of students to like a 4 years old training.
Oh yeah, I can't even wait to see them like materialize.
When they become in the 20s, the 22, for sure they are black belt and like way better than the time we didn't have that much support, access in jiu-jitsu sport. They do have it those days.
Yeah, you see the kids now at tournaments. Oh my goodness.
Some purple belts kids I don't even want to train. I'll be very honest. Sometimes I like, I go with him.
Oh yeah, well, I have Tenoch. And Tenoch started at 5.
Right. How old is him right now?
He's 14. Gosh. So Justin, I say next, he's taller than me now. I think he's almost weighs as much as me. In the next year or two, it's like, he's going to be your size.
Yeah, no.
And I knew him when he was like tiny. It's crazy.
It's wonderful to see that because of the jiu-jitsu evolution, like so far forward from our eyes.
Yeah, it's a different world. When you started, let me ask you this, because we both coach kids. What was the kids program like where you started?
Didn't have a kids program.
You were just in the class.
I was in the class.
The jiu-jitsu class.
I had in the jiu-jitsu. Back in the day, you just doesn't have that much. Programs we do have those days. Back in the day, it was like a jiu-jitsu class on the lunchtime and the nighttime. Yeah, that's it.
What town are you from?
I'm from Brazil. I'm originally from Brazil, Brasília, which is the capital of Brazil.
Okay.
It's right in the center of Brazil.
And who was your first coach?
Particularly, I started when I started jiu-jitsu. Now I started in the Gracie Barra.
In the Gracie Barra in Brazil?
No, it was not a Gracie Barra. I trained in
neighborhood school.
Neighborhood school used to be the name called Constrictor Team.
Constrictor Team.
Yeah, with Professor Ataíde Ludigiaro Jr.
He's the person?
Yeah, he's
that
a coach.
I want to go find. I hear he's all about the snakes.
Yes.
PhD of the snakes. I have one friend.
I had a goosebump right now. Just talk about him.
There's people I want to meet in jiu-jitsu, and he's on my top list because I hear this guy that lives in the jungle that knows all about snakes and does jiu-jitsu based on his study of snakes.
What he does for a living, like he's a biological guy. He's work for the zoo in Brazil.
Okay.
And he's live like way far, like not in the jungle, like as people in Brazil. Where I'm from, we don't have the jungle, but we have a desert. We can call like as more like a desert.
Okay.
And he's live some farm has he's have about like a 20 snakes.
Yeah.
He's all about that. He's one of the first black belt from Master Armando Rich, which is a red belt under Hélio Gracie. That's where I started.
Okay, so that's rad.
I trained in that gym until my brown belt.
Wow.
Yes,
I never knew this.
Yes.
So this is a great podcast already because I learned that about you.
Yeah, I used to be training in that gym because it used to be very close access to where I used to go, to the gym I used to go. But my whole entire life, I was a friend of Gracie Barra people. My whole childhood friends, like we all live in the same neighborhood. We all went to the same day school, but because of the different location, I had to train in different gym.
Yeah.
Which is for me was great too, you know.
Yeah, good. Lots of good places, but was the culture there of like you were friends with other gyms. Like here, I think I have friends of other gyms, and it's good. I like other gyms because
I do.
We couldn't have tournaments without other gyms.
Exactly. Then I moved to Gracie Barra was in 2008.
Okay.
I moved to Gracie Barra 2008. At the beginning of 2008. Trained at Gracie Barra in 2009. I got my black belt.
And which school was that?
It was a Gracie Barra Brasilia, which is the headquarters of GB in my city.
Who was the instructors there?
His name at the time, he's still there. It's Eliezer Dutra, more known as a Piazzi.
Okay.
That's those days. He's a black belt 5th degree judo and black belt 5th degree jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
That's who I started. But because then he's moved job, and then for a long time, for a little bit time, like about a year, I was training with Professor Rafael Freitas.
Okay.
Which was the head instructor in the gym at the time.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Because in that gym we had like a different schedule. Our master, which is the black belt, used to be teaching Mondays, Wednesday nights. He's only teaching Mondays and Wednesdays nighttime.
Yeah.
In the other classes, we had a lot of different instructors. And Barata was one for me. Like I know him for about 20 years, and it's one of my favorite compared to those days. And teacher also, he's not great skill in competing, but as a teacher. And my style was really good about him. Like we trained most of the time. Then when he's left to USA, I started doing most like Professor Piaz. Yeah.
Okay. And then, were you teaching in Brazil? Did you kind of grow into some teaching spots?
I did when I used to be teaching in the old school. I used to train, but because of Professor Ataíde Jr., he's most like toward to MMA style.
Okay.
He's have a lot of MMA guys, which is Hanya Hira.
So I know him and my friend Gabriel Wolf.
Gabriel Wolf, and then I have the other one, the guy UFC veteran Paulo Thiago.
Yeah.
Then in my mind, I love jiu-jitsu, you know.
Yeah.
I like to talk about jiu-jitsu more like I'm a jiu-jitsu style. And Professor Taide, he's more like in the line of Hélio Gracie's line, which is like the UFC. You need to improve yourself in the fighting MMA stuff.
Yeah.
And Gracie Barra is all about the different methodology from the Master Carlos Gracie. It's about like a jiu-jitsu competitive, jiu-jitsu lifestyle, bringing jiu-jitsu for everyone, right? Then that's when I moved. Right? I was teaching at the gym, but when I moved to Gracie Barra, all gyms, let's be honest, all gyms has the little policy like if you come from the other gym, you're with a higher belt, I'm not going to give everything for you right away.
Yeah, you need to pay those dues again.
Literally, I started training my jiu-jitsu joint. I had to go recycle the whole thing, like we talked about earlier. I had to reinvent myself as a brown belt for jiu-jitsu to do what I have today.
Yeah.
Then right after when Professor Freitas left, then they gave me the opportunity. I was teaching his classes, which was the Tuesdays and Thursdays lunchtime.
Okay.
That was one way, and the time it was that one way to pay my dues in the gym. I was just
help
exchanging.
give back.
Yeah, I was teaching for them, but I was not paying my membership at the time, which personal side of life, I had like some stuff to do,
Yeah.
That was how was the teaching.
And they give you the opportunity to see potential, and then you help teach.
Yeah, of course. And like I was competing a lot on the time too, and I was teach, but on the time it was not like I want to teach, but because I want to pay my membership too, be honest with you. But I was want to do competitions.
So let's talk about then, like, because when I got here, we talked a little bit about it, and I'm interested in, when I first started jiu-jitsu, it was just like, well, first I was just like, I just need to do that thing that I saw. And then I was like, oh, there's things you can win. You can win tournaments in this thing. And like, there's some competition in this. So I wanted to do that. I was really focused on competition. I taught classes, but I was definitely thinking back on it. Like, no, I was mainly focused on competition and me training.
Me also.
So you did that. You did a lot of competing in Brazil.
I did. Basically, like I was on a time, it was like Professor Piazza had a lot of people. Like we had a group, like 15 people was representing the team like almost every month.
Okay.
Was able, thank you God, there was on a time I was able to compete like at least twice a month.
Yeah. Yes.
Twice a month.
Healthy opportunity for competition.
I was going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, looking back on it, so that was 20 years ago or something.
20.
You highly focused on competition, and I would still say you're focused on competition.
You're
still focused.
But
I'm not. But how does it feel different? What do you feel like? Your focus is different in jiu-jitsu? More competition, less competition? What are you focused on now?
My focus on the competition is still the same. I have like since as a white belt, I still have some personal goals. I still have to accomplish, but my way look at jiu-jitsu, it's less in a hurry as I was a little bit younger.
Yeah.
I was a little younger. I was like, I want to get. I don't care who's by my side. No, those days, I still want to. I still inside that the competitor never stop.
Yeah.
I believe one day will, but right now, no. But I like the idea to bring a little bit the opportunities I didn't have, I try to bring to the others. Means I'm teaching to help them a little bit more, like give them on the right path to go to the competitions. Back in the day, we didn't have jiu-jitsu was like everything new.
Yeah.
Was not that much organized how you are today. And back in the day, you had to kill one lion a day to prove yourself to people. Those days.
That I want to go definitely touch on, because it's like, I struggle with how jiu-jitsu was in the old days, how I feel it was, the level, like how training was, how things were, is different, I believe. And I believe it's like sometimes I find myself, I'm like, am I that grumpy old dad that's like, back in the day it was so hard? But it was. And what I'm glad is I like to acknowledge that past, and then like, how can I actively change to make it better for the future? And how can you change teaching, focus on competition, how you lead a room to really make the sport better? Because I think we can talk about this, is like, I feel like a lot of it was self-imposed. Was like, I was very hungry. I was very focused on like, I just want to like be good at this. It's very important to me and my self-worth and everything. I need to go. And then it was like, people were encouraging that. Right. Train harder. You're going harder. Well, don't quit. And I took that to heart. I would just go and and train with anyone. And I would like even win things. But when I went home, it was like, oh, I can't move, and I encourage people differently. I see, like, I think of Tenoch, and I think like some of the things, like, I would say instruction, and I'm not criticizing any teacher, because I think everyone's learning. Like, I've instructed people to do things that now I'm like, oh, that's probably not the best idea. Hey, there's a different way to do it. Even technique, you can think about technique, intention. I think everyone did their best.
Right.
But it's like, sometimes it was like, oh, I don't want to instruct my students like, don't tap, smash that guy's face, and we're gonna win, And I believe that was a little bit how it was.
I totally agree with you.
And we don't always talk about that a lot. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, did I imagine that? It's like, no, it was like, all these rules. It's like, it was just called grappling, and you just, jiu-jitsu'd someone. And it was like, however you make them tap is how you make them tap. knee reaps, neck cranks, slam you on your head was 100% like encouraged.
It's normal, right?
It's normal. And that's, I struggle, like, do you want to be tough or do you want to I'm like, I think it's changing because I'm getting older and I'm feeling the like damage of those things that even when I thought I recovered, what was 100% recovery, I'm like, oh no, that's not how I should be, and feel like, then like, how do I protect some of these people that are under my kind of care as an instructor? Do I want to protect them? But then if I protect them too much, do I not protect jiu-jitsu?
Right.
And I think everyone, it's like a very fine line. I struggle with it.
One thing I still, I agree with you totally 100%. I still have this struggle sometimes. But one thing I try to, most of the time, give them to the experience, not like they will have to find the way and jiu-jitsu the hardest way. Mm-hmm. Sorry, that's how I think it too, because you know what you did to get to where you are right now. We don't talk about rank or whatever, but to talk about the last experience. 20, your experience you have. That's exact. Thank you very much. The word I was going to tell you, it's like, guys, you guys can do, but by my, not because it's your teaching, but it's by my experience, because I did that before, it's painful.
It's painful. Is it always worth it? Sometimes it's not worth it. Sometimes it is worth it. But it's like, I'm like, were these smart choices? But it's like, I'm proud that I made these choices in a lot of ways. Like, and did they amount to like what people say is success? Or, sometimes no, but it's like, you learn a lot about yourself.
You do.
I like have like, dude, I didn't think I could go through that. I didn't really eat food for a month. And just train and
pay the membership,
just to go like get a fight and cut weight, and I just want that so bad. I'm not going to eat. People are going to tell me I'm insane. True, and it's not smart, but it's like it makes me super happy that I did it. Do you know what I mean? To get to go do that again. I don't ever want to do it again. I don't encourage it, but it's like I had never I tried hard at things, but I had never met something that I would try hard, and it was just like, you just need to do a little more. And just like, well, how much can you do? You can do a lot. I never knew that. And I don't think if you don't put a lot into jiu-jitsu, you don't get a lot. But there are some people that you're like, you put a lot. Megaton Diaz looks like he put a lot into jiu-jitsu. Rodrigo looks like he put a lot into jiu-jitsu. Micah Reyes looks like he put a lot into jiu-jitsu. It's like I see Ivan. He put a lot of himself into jiu-jitsu. You.
And you.
And me. And I'm like, I have so much like worry and care, and it's like, but would I trade it? I don't think I would. I think it was like, I'm happy I did it, but it's like, how do we do it a little easier now?
Like I was saying, like I would do it again, but I would do it the experience I do have of those days. I wish I had that experience I have today to make the things a little bit smarter than before. Too. Because, and also like that, like we talked before a little early, back in the day didn't have any rules. Like we say, like it's a gi, shaking hands, let's go. What do you do? You have to make tap. But those days you have books from past this, YouTube subscription. You see people like it's way more like ahead of what we think back in the day.
I am like really excited about it, but I'm like, man, I wish I had all those. I wish I started when I was 3 and had all these things. And it's like, but it's like, oh, I'm excited those things are there. So maybe people, you'll still have suffering in jiu-jitsu, I think, by nature. But a lot of things can be made a lot more streamlined.
A lot easier too.
Yeah. I try and pass those lessons a little bit on to my students. Sometimes I think, though, then on the flip side, it's like, how many, and I wonder, because I think my instructors coming up, and I'm like a Rodrigo fan. He was like, got his black belt. I remember when he was like purple belt, brown belt.
Right.
But it wasn't like you kind of think of like, you're like, I had this old guy that's the 5th degree guy instructing, like a mentor.
Like a god.
I was just like, Rodrigo's my buddy. And we're like trying to figure this stuff out, and he knows a little more than me and speaks this language, because the rest of us just stood around and we're like,
what's going on?
What is going on? I don't know what's going on, And then it's like, oh, I want to hopefully like learn how to refine it a little for my students. And one thing I'll say for like Rodrigo and those guys come up here, you know, I went to Nicaragua and tried to like teach class.
Right.
It's hard. It's hard, right? You know, all I did, aquí, a lot of pointing, and here.
A lot of mimicas.
And I just put myself in that space of like coming up here, you know, for Rodrigo, for everyone who traveled here to teach jiu-jitsu.
Right.
If you didn't, you know, unless you were like have a bunch of money and knew all the English and but I don't think that was anyone that I've heard of. Right? The guy in the garage, none of those guys.
I learned my English here with my students for
the
day one.
It's commendable. Yeah.
It was rough. I still have struggles. You know, it's completely different, you know.
It's different. You learn, like, the skill of teaching. You learn, like, the skill of, like, a whole new language. You learn, like, different, like, just how people, not even language, just customs. This thing is a joke here and not a joke here, you know, cultural.
I was talking about to a friend of today about that, you know, like, he was like, man, how you was handle the whole thing? Of man, I had to do a bunch of stuff. First of all, no English. Second, the cultural thing, which is okay in Brazil, like we say, it's not okay over here, which is okay over here, was not okay over there.
Yeah.
Was a good process. It's still a long process, you know. Never it's getting better. We try just to improve it even more. Every time Jiu-Jitsu improve, you have to like, oh, I cannot use this word anymore. Now I have to do this. Oh, but
there's a different way to think about this problem.
Exactly.
I didn't see that side of it. I'm fascinated with applying Jiu-Jitsu lessons to life lessons and back and forth, and because they're all pretty applicable, and you can run your head into the wall and not admit the problem, and you can do that in Jiu-Jitsu, and it's a lot more painful.
It is.
Just like life.
Not just for the body, for the mind you got in the end of the day.
For the emotional state, everything.
Every single day is getting home sometimes like a so sore, but not even the body, it's the mind, because you couldn't solve a problem for
this guy's got me.
A blue belt to put you in a position you couldn't solve that problem. He's got you. But back in the day it was unacceptable. Like, no, you can't. But those days...
Do you remember, like, it was, like, unacceptable to give, like, a lower belt a good position? Like, yeah, it was, like, you would hear about it a little bit. What's wrong with your jiu-jitsu?
My back in my day was a little bit weird. I don't know if you got that point, but sometimes was, like, the traditional for them, so they still call those days old school. Yeah. As a purple belt, I was not allowed to be on a table with only black belts. Yeah. I was not allowed to be because
to like sit with them.
Just to sit down. Yeah. But my old school, they always feel like a little bit like you could feel like they look at you like, what were you here? You know. Yeah. You'd see just the black belts. What are you doing? But those days you see, like, I have it here in the gym. You have in the gym. You see a brown belt teaching class. Yeah. You have like 5 black belts watching the class, having the class. Yeah. That's what's amazing me, because how Jiu-Jitsu go up and down, and just getting better and better, and easy to teach or to train, you know.
Well, and I think some of it is like the function. Well, when you take like that just like sheer aggression kind of jiu-jitsu, and then you say like, I think it's more open, a black belt, if that's not how you're tough in the gym, now it's more about all these other things. They're more open to accept and like able to accept instruction from a lower belt.
Exactly.
You know, which I think is very good.
It's for me, it's amazing me, because sometimes I can't ask a question my purple belts. They're gonna give me a good answer. Yeah. They're gonna give me a good answer, and they're not gonna feel they teach me, or I'm
or that you're
questioning them
or anything.
They're gonna feel like, okay, we just all help each other. Yeah. Maybe he's have a more easy way to solve some problems than myself, you know.
Yeah, I like it much more. I remember, you know, some places it's like, oh, you definitely didn't even want to ask a question for looking like and you were like, how can I word this so it doesn't seem like offensive, but I'm not challenging you, I'm just asking. And then it's like, and then I remember even when I started teaching, people ask me questions, and I always feel like they don't think I know what I'm doing, you know. And then I started, what am I going to do? You know, and like a little panic in me, and then the answer come out wrong because I'm like a little panicked. And then it's like, now I like try to tell with my students, like, it's like you want to, there needs to be a leader. I believe there needs to be a leader of like overall, it's not a technical leader, it's a function of the gym leader. And if you're a good leader, everyone just follows.
Exactly.
But then you can like be open to like, hey, what do you think about this? You maybe have a new perspective on it, lower belts, higher belts. I learned stuff just like watching the kids and these, it's like kind of like open source information. The more information out there is better information.
I used to don't have that idea. As soon as when I moved to here in 2010, I used to don't have the idea. I used to be thinking, people asking me questions, I used to be the first thing. Once, for the English was not, I was try to cut off the conversation sometimes and just say, no, just doing this. Mm-hmm. Because I was taught like, no, like it's, I don't, his days don't believe in me.
Let
me show you.
Something. Yeah.
Yes, I used to, we all had this.
Yeah, I felt this.
If you not had that attitude, you probably had to pass through the attitude. You had that experience, vice versa.
You were on some portion of the attitude because maybe you wanted to ask a question and you got received. And
I had to be on both sides.
I've been on both sides too.
Try to feel like I ask a question, could, because my teachers always look at me in like a different size. Or like in my mind, like, oh, he's going to train with me later. My gosh. Or
he's going to show me that move and I'm going
to... Or I do the same thing with my student. Today, I would say sometimes I see, because there's still a lot of people, a lot of people see people getting better more and more, but sometimes I see myself where I think about like feeling like, man, I'm glad it's not that anymore, because the jiu-jitsu those days is like, it's so much better. I can be able to, like you say, watch jiu-jitsu, learn with kids. Particularly, I like to sometimes go on YouTube, go like put a little bit highlights, kids highlights.
Yeah, they do some amazing things.
They do things like I don't think I would be able to do them right on time that they do. I will have to train like more than 2-3 days.
And it just came out of them most of the time.
For them, it's so natural.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that we're talking about this like old, different. I think it's like old school, new school style, but also just like teaching style, or like I think it's almost gym culture. Is that's one thing I did like. I like about Gracie Barra that I found like the mission of the school. The mission of the school. I like the notion that it's like it's not about any one person. There's no one head person. There is a head. There always has to be a head that kind of does some things, but the focus is not one person. The focus is the team. And that's how I always like things in our school. When there's questions that come up, there's problems that come up in the school. It's like what I try to ask myself is like, what's the best for the team? It's not who's asking the question, how I'm going to give the answer. It's not always even what I want. Because sometimes I would like to be doing selfishly what I want to do.
Exactly.
Right? I like to be training when I need to be watching people. I want to be training in the way that's beneficial for me. First notion beneficial, not beneficial like, oh, it's beneficial for me to roll with everyone because I'm building the team. Mm-hmm. I need to, but I try to look at all the questions like, what's the best for the gym? What's the best for the team? We've got this culture that like tries to be like communal and open for the whole team. Mm-hmm. Jiu-jitsu for everyone.
Right.
Like every question or problem, like people ask me, I need you to have this kind of class. I need you to do this kind of thing. And it's like, well, I feel like we're, doing this for the team. And we have these things in place for the team.
Right.
Not for the one winner that wants it one way, or the one special guy that like is going to do this or that and then want to change the school, the team. It's like no one person gets to change the culture of the team. The team's culture like brings in the students, and it's like you can support the culture or you can find another team with the culture that you want to support. You don't come into a gym and change the culture. And I think as an instructor and a leader, and I hear Rodrigo talking about this, is like, I think he calls it like, well, you don't come in and if I don't wear shoes in my house, you wear your shoes all over my house, right? That's his very simple, succinct story is like, you don't come in and change the team. It's like you want to be on the team, or if you don't like the team, what should you do is find a team that you do like, because this team may not be for everyone.
It's like a puzzle, né? If you don't fit in there, you need to find yourself to fit.
Yeah, and it's better for everyone. It's not a negative, I don't think. And it's been like, I didn't realize that at first teaching. I thought like, and a lot of it was a function of money. You need every student because you need to pay your bills and eat. But then it's like, what Baja has done as a team, for me as I see it, is with that team attitude, they've grown the team where I have a good job, you have a job, Rodrigo has a job. All of us here have viable jobs, and we can build more schools.
Right.
And, hopefully I can go get another school and build black belts that build more schools. And it's because of a focus on cooperation versus kind of in the old days where it was a focus on, I want to win right now. Not even a medal. I want to win right now so that no one looks at me like a loser.
Exactly. It used to be in a time, it's like a little bit back in the day, it used to be like a reputation, right? Used to people in my mind, used to be in a place, I want to be in a place. When I get there, everybody know I get there.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy over there.
Guy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But I didn't one time I was start to realize right before I got in the Gracie Barra, I used to be like, I'm right there. But when I was see Professor Piaz, which is my teacher from back home, he was over there, but he was not a great champ.
Yeah.
He's always told me, I'm not a great champ about it, but I can build the champs.
Yeah, which is even better.
Even better. That's one the thing about my intention to move to Gracie Barra. Then one thing was I still play on that joke those days so much when the people talk about teams. Sometimes people make fun of talk about, you guys have a curriculum. I thought, yes, buddy.
Yeah.
One thing he called my attention,
stability
the organized stability. I was so tired, in my life, on the first, a week, 2 weeks, teach as a Gracie Barra in my mind, I didn't have to be on the percus to my house, to the gym. I didn't have to think what kind of technique I was going to do.
Yeah.
I was over there on the curriculum. I know what to do, the positions. I'm just going to take the topic, more organized. That's what's making
Give you confidence to, walk in with a
plan. Straight up and go plan by that. Back in the day, I used to not have a plan. It used to be, see my teacher teach a guard pass for 3-4 months.
Yeah.
But those days, you're doing that for a month. But it's so many varieties, the guard pass, but organized. That's what the mission they bring, it's for everyone, the 3 years old to our oldest, 67 years old, to be able to do the same technique at the same pace.
Yeah, and I think when people come in and say well, I want it this way, I like this at this place, and it's well, again, this is how we do it here. And it's very well, here it is. It's all just in writing. It's just here, and everyone, if you don't want to come that day, it's fine. Come when you want to come.
Come the next day.
That's totally fine. You come. You know what to expect, though. You don't, because what's worse is when you come thinking it's going to be one day. One day your coach just sits in a chair and not even teach. And then the next day they come and it's all open mat and you just get crushed. And then the next day they teach you some crazy move. And then the next day they just sit at their desk again and won't talk to you.
It's always a little surprise at the day. It's you never know what's going to happen, if you're going to survive or you're just going to be boring.
Yeah, and is it going to be a class? Is it going to be this? Is it based on, I think, the whim of the teacher? But then I think it had to be hard to teach in that environment too, because you didn't have a plan. Yeah. Do you know, as the instructor that was I look back and I'm oh, you looked really frustrated. Well, obviously you had no plan.
Resource those
and
didn't have as much.
It would be very hard to come up with a plan if you're learning the language and you don't know I think that's a lot to ask of a 20-year-old guy who's just focused on competition. Every day it's a lot, there's not a lot of setup for success in that plan. So I think that's what I like about Baja, is everyone, it's scalable. It's does it have to be, I think do you have to mimic everything exactly? No. I'm different than you and how I show it is a little different, but there's a general plan. We all have a general plan. You can see it's not, I'm doing Birimbolo, you're doing back take, you're doing all over the place. It's just general plan.
You had the example was this week. You had a very good example. I think Gracie Barra support everyone for everywhere training, whatever they train us if it's a member, right?
Yeah. We
had somebody from out of state. They was man, your class is completely different than the other one. I thought, how?
Yeah.
Because over there it's way basic. I thought, yeah, but we're doing here the basic, but your professor maybe is a tall, maybe is a short, maybe he's to go to different way, but the topic of the position is still the same.
It's still the same.
It's still the same. It's just if you go to some other gym, if you go to GB Kirkland, you're going to see a different technique.
Yeah.
If you go to GB Seattle, you're going to be this difference, but And at the end of the day, you're gonna be we didn't escape from the topic.
Now you have many ways to color
Many,
that
many
same
ways
position.
for the big guy, for the little guy,
Yeah.
for the female, for the boy. You're gonna find any one position you're gonna fit for your game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that part too, the Barra too.
Is much easier for me just to think of it that way. And like I said, I think for too, just like if you give people stability, then they know what to expect. People don't feel afraid. People don't wonder if it's the class or whatever. Do I go to this one? Just the same, and everyone can do it.
One thing helped me also too, like back in the day, was maybe it's like we getting old more as you get old. The time get old, you get a little bit more experience and a little bit more chill. Back in the day, I was too tense because I was even teaching the class, but was think about the competition I was gonna have on the weekend, which is taking me in the focus. Those days I know I have the competition, but I still have to focus on my students because they're gonna be by my side competing. And the one feeling like I wanna do, slow down a little bit, but because I still wanna do, but I wanna do with my students.
Yeah.
Which is make me less selfish and make me like a little bit go to the other side, like I put my grandpa used to be say, you don't want to be a chief, you want to be a leader.
Yeah.
Because a chief don't gonna go talk to the soldier, but the leader gonna be by the soldier.
Be right with them.
Right with them, side by side. I'm not gonna be in front. That took me a little bit, a few years, at about like 10 years to understand that. But those days, I'm glad I know what I should be going. Sometimes it's a little bit harder, but I'm still more step back a little bit. I think that's what everybody see. Be honest with you, and the one example I have. One of the best moment, one example I had like in life, very few experience when we all team together one day, someone else say like, hey, we're gonna do this event for the kids, we're gonna do this for the event the kids because you have these kids. We all know you have a good kids program too, but you look straight up to the person with the smile on the face. Just let me know when the day I will be there with the team. Which is like for me, it was amazing maybe because in the moment, if it wasn't any other person back in the day was gonna say, okay, let me take care of this. But you, instead that you just come to us, say like, no, I'll be with the team over there. Whatever you guys want to do, just let me know.
Yeah.
That was for me even Goosebump have a good example
when I came here.
I was a good example as a leader, not as a chief.
I try and I never really believed in like team in the same way. Like when I first came up, I was a punk rock kid. I was very like, I need to do all this for myself.
Right.
And then when I left Baja, I went there to my own school, and I started to learn the lessons of, like, oh, there's a power in having friends. You don't have to do everything yourself. You can't do everything yourself. I have, like, some circumstances. I got in a car wreck. You know, I was like, oh, I'm here all alone. And I used to have guys come in and, like, challenge match me, and it's like, I'm out here, like, alone. And it's like, okay, well, and I didn't leave because I like was mad at Rodrigo. I was just like more like, I don't believe in the curriculum. I was clinging to the old school. Right. I was clinging to, because I was believing what the curriculum and the change in Baja was like, you're going to be, McDojo. You need to do it just this way. And then it's like, then I went and opened my own school. And I see like, oh, I was doing attendance cards. I created a curriculum for the kids. I was doing all the things, but what I didn't have was anyone around me.
That support as a team.
And then I hear like, when I was hurt, I didn't have anyone to cover classes because I was mainly teaching kids too. So it's like, who do you ask? The 5-year-old? No, I need to, and I learned that lesson of like, well, is this how I can be successful? I don't think so. And all the things that I thought I didn't like, I'm really already doing because I believe in like leadership. And I think to lead people, you can't just say, run behind me, like into like, unknown. It's like you give them the plan. Here's our mission, right? And then I was able to talk back with Rodrigo and like, or before then and Angela was running the thing and I came over here, and it's like, man, I have these little kids that don't have people to train with. We're isolated, and I get this opportunity. What's the best thing I can do is try to go back out and make friends.
Exactly.
And make friends. Because I was like, some places in that time in my life, I was very like breaking away from not even just the curriculum, but I was doing MMA more.
Mm-hmm.
I was ending a not great relationship. And like, you know what I need to, like, I thought the answer was like, clear out everything. Clear out everything and just like do it yourself. Because you're really like scared and you don't know what to do, but at least if you manage it yourself, you're kind of in control.
Right.
But then it's like, oh, but that only goes so far. You know, and then it's like, I was able to like, just like, okay, I need to like appreciate the people in the community, you know, appreciate Baja, because I had to, you know, it was just like, I'm not mad at Rodrigo, I just don't know if I want to do the curriculum, you know, and then it was just like, I was fortunate in that, like, you know, I think it was like hard feelings then, but we just like didn't engage for a while, just no engagement, like this is what's happening, no engagement, and then it was like, okay, you know what, like made it work is like time. We just like, I think like I thought about it. I learned the lessons of jiu-jitsu, the life lessons of like, you think you're so fucking tough and you can't do it alone. And you learn those lessons. And me and Rodrigo didn't quarrel or do anything. It was just like nothing, you know, just be free to go learn the lessons.
You went to try it out
and
yourself.
Then start to like, okay, I'm going to come here. I remember going to one of the barbecues. He asked me to come to the barbecue.
Mm-hmm. I remember
that day.
And I
come to the barbecue, training a little bit, then see you guys. Like, oh, everything's cool. I saw one thing I thought was very strange. Or it wasn't strange, it's life again. Like some people, you know, me and Rodrigo were like, just step back. And then I have some people that it's like, I don't really consider you a jiu-jitsu guy, but you have an opinion about me and Rodrigo. You know? And a lot of those opinions, and being able to say, like, those opinions don't really fucking matter, right? I know I'm going to guard myself against all those opinions, because I do know no matter what, if I'm at Baja or not, was like, well, Rodrigo let me live in his house. Rodrigo helped me do stuff. When people didn't really want, like, girls in the gym, Rodrigo always trained with me. You know, there's all these other things. It's like, these guys are seeing teams, and this isn't really a team for me. It's like, oh, this is a guy, like, no matter what Rodrigo's team was, I would still like him. You know, and then it's like, oh, then I got to learn my lessons. Then I got to come back to Baja. You know, they just call me and like,
hey, go back.
Hey, do you need a job? I was like, holy shit, yeah, that would be great. Because I've just been like waiting here trying to figure out like how I can have a team. And I tried to be on another team, and I needed to like pay all these dues, and it was never going to be okay. You know,
to the other side of the jiu-jitsu.
And it's like, Rodrigo, like, let me use you know, make the mistakes. He let me come back after the mistakes. And then it's like, hit the ground running. We're back on the team. We're going. You know, and so that's like, I'd never really had those kind of like long-term relationships. I moved all the time as a kid. When I was a little kid, I like moved. So it's like, oh, you're friends with someone for like 6 months. Is a different way to maintain our friendship than for 15 years, 20 years. You know, and you see those things like I see now, like even people like, oh, I don't even know if I was really even your friend. But what I do know is for 20 years, you've given to jiu-jitsu, right? I see those people. I see like where it's like, you didn't just do jiu-jitsu. You gave your life to jiu-jitsu.
Not just being on the mat competing, but you was over there teaching.
There's a difference there.
Referee, or play something.
And I like, that's I think the biggest lesson that jiu-jitsu's given me is like that. But now let's segue into the next part of my like thing is like, so I love jiu-jitsu and I think I'll always do jiu-jitsu. But I also feel like I need to break up with jiu-jitsu a little bit. You know, I maybe like, I like joke in the relationship thing. Like, you know, if you like were dating someone and all you did was hang out with each other.
Sometimes
maybe not the best idea, right? So it's like, now I've been trying like to see like, oh, to be great at jiu-jitsu and continue to love jiu-jitsu, I find that I need to go and do other things.
What are you doing with this?
Well, I've been trying to ride my bicycle. We bonded about that.
Yeah.
Me riding bicycle, you snowboarding.
Yeah, I want to like actually take very fun in the part because my whole entire life in jiu-jitsu I didn't have a car, didn't have much opportunity. I had a board, skateboard.
Okay.
My whole entire life was a board, but I never think about how much fun I was gonna be those days doing snowboard, because I mean, like, at that time I was using the thing to go to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Now I use the snowboard to make my jiu-jitsu better.
Yeah.
Like, people, what do you really mean? Of like, man, I just sometimes, like, it's when your cell phone batteries die,
Yeah.
and then you have to plug in the charger, right?
Yeah.
That's what I do as a snowboard.
You get to go to the mountain.
Go to the mountain, need to recharge myself, need to think a little bit, because I teach like so many classes a week, jiu-jitsu 24 days.
Yeah.
Some days I don't want to talk about a hipscape.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest. I love jiu-jitsu to the death, but some days I don't want to be on a gym.
Yeah, I like joke. I call it like, I don't want to be Professor Cindy. I want to go somewhere where no one calls me Professor Cindy. I'm just this person that doesn't know anything.
Exactly. That's one of the things that make me amazing. I got a little bit in love with snowboard, because when I go to snowboard, and also it's funny because most of the snowboard bodies I have, it's all about my students.
Yeah.
But when I get on the mount, I become the student.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part, because I don't
Totally.
need to be, oh, Professor. No. Carlos, you're doing wrong.
Let me show you how not
Let
to
me
face
show you,
plant.
like, it's so many times, like, on the first time I heard that, like, I don't know, I felt weird a little bit. Like, you tell me what to do, but I didn't realize I was in some different sport.
Yeah, and then it's a little refreshing.
Exactly, and making me kind of give me a little bit more moment to be humble a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we don't know anything, We just learn. We just like need to accumulate information in our brain. That's what make me amaze me in snowboard, because every time I go to snowboard time season, when I come back, my jiu-jitsu teaching got a little bit nicer, better.
Yeah.
I have a more patience. I have a more like a way to see things, because I wasn't few hours early or 2 days early. People was teaching me.
Yeah.
Then I know what's the feeling when someone else teaching you don't do it right. You kind of get a little frustrated sometimes, or you get mad, maybe not. Then because of the person's words was a little bit painful, maybe the words person was a little bit pushing up, giving me that little time, like that little, okay, now I know what to say to that person, how they feel, or what I'm about the feelings, what my students feel. I need to make sure they're gonna feel well. That's one.
I have the same
big
thing.
Challenge.
So I, get into bike riding, and I don't know much about bike riding, and I'm trying to like learn about fixing bikes, and and I'm just like telling everyone about my bike riding, and I like met these people that ride bikes a lot, and I'm like, and let me tell you, they're like,
What the hell? What is that?
And it's like, oh yeah, you're like when people talk to me about jiu-jitsu, and I'm like,
It's
also,
a different side.
And then it's like, oh, I'm like, I don't want to squash people's beginner enthusiasm, so like I relate to that. And then like when I started doing some judo with Eugene, he would tell me like, freeze, and I would like try to do it better, and it's like, that's that fucking exact thing I say to my students, and I'm like, no, you're like moving. Freeze means freeze. You're still moving. No. Why are you getting up? No. And then you're like, I'm like, I would do those things. And then it was like funny. I was like, I'm that person. And it gave me like, and then I'll go back and tell people like when I have to correct someone, I'm like, dude, no, I've been that person. And hold on, I don't need, just relax. It's totally cool. It's just, and they're just like wanting to do such a good job that they're like moving all around. It's like, oh, they're not freaking out, Cindy. They're just excited. It's okay.
That's one of the best thing I had started doing snowboard, because it's one of the sport. I'm kind of getting involved with the sports very well too. But that's what we talk about sometimes when you come back, you go to teach. Now you're a Professor Carl, but you see the situation, but you like,
oh, that was me.
That was me. Hey, buddy. And then you have to, right the way you look, you have to like, should I go to my way or should I go to the proper way?
Yeah, there's some compassion. Some compassion and empathy is just like, dude, no. And it's like, because I think for a while I was thinking like, sometimes it's like, oh, well, just don't. Yeah, I don't want to give so much feedback because I don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Exactly.
Right. But then it's like, well, how do you temper like, well, if I don't give them any feedback, they're not going to do it right and kind of suck. So it's like, you hear like the praise sandwich, like say something nice, say something this way. But it's like, I find when you just approach it with like some empathy, it goes a long way of like, oh, I totally been here. is totally like okay, and like do it this way, you know, like, but not like, what the fuck are you doing? You're doing it wrong. Which is, you know, it's just like a little shift, and that's why I really like doing new things. Is like it makes me remember all the time, like, oh, I wasn't just like that back when I was a white belt. I was literally like that like 5 hours ago when I was doing this thing. You know, I can bring that way more to the present day. I was like that. Like podcasting is like that. Like I feel like I get a little socially anxious anyway, and so I always have all these excuses why I'm not going to podcast, and then I live kind of out by myself.
Right.
So I like kind of find like, oh, I'm not getting enough social interaction. Go, you know, it's just like I like that quiet, but then it's like it's good to be in the world. And then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go and I listen to all these people podcast, and then it's like, okay, I have questions and I try to think of my questions, but it's like guiding a meaningful conversation is hard.
Actually, it is.
It's really hard, and it's sad that it's hard. When I think about that statement, is kind of like, oh, I want to, like, through podcasting, if nothing else good happens, is like, one, I think it's even like weird that you need to schedule time to have meaningful conversations with people, you know, and like, I try to talk to all my students, but it's like, you only have so much time. And a lot of times it's like, does the person even want to hear what I'm saying? How are you doing today? Good. Done. You know, and like, then like, I'm like, oh, in the last week, I think I've had like 7 super like in-depth, meaningful conversations. And it's like, oh, I've learned a shit ton of stuff just like talking to people, like where it's like, no, what do you really think about this? Not like what you think in like a 1-minute snippet. Like, what do you really think about all these things? Like, how do you feel? Do you feel this way? Because I feel this way, you know? And that's kind of cool.
I used to have like this part I used to not have as much a conversation. First, with the beginning, because of the language was not help as much. Sometimes I was not able to beginner like, man, how can I have a conversation with this guy? I like
it's hard.
him, but no. Done those days, I'm be very honest with you, I'm going through some process through outside life. I'm going to a meetings in psychology, which is like for me was like I always think about. I'm not crazy. I'm not going fucking psychology. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But those days, like the person I'm going through, that's so incredible how much those days I can be able to have a conversation with people normal, like it's helping me, because first time you like how can I like have a 5 minutes conversation with Cindy, but she's all like what's but those days we can like we can tell you, I can feel okay to say Cindy that's gonna talk, or even the other students, you know, because I don't know, it's kind of weird to understand the human sometimes.
It's very weird.
It's like sometimes you look at them face, but you know they don't want to talk, but I don't know.
You don't know what's going on, and then it's like, is it, and where is it even coming from? And I don't think most of the time people know why they're reacting in the way that they do. Because when you really sit back and think like, why did I really do that? You have like the surface level of why you did it, but then there's all the reasons underneath why you're doing those things, you know, and like, it's hard to look at those things. Right? It's kind of scary.
It is super, super, especially some different aspect of conversation. Like, I'm not going to bring this conversation for her.
It's scary.
I'm not going to talk to this person about this.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's all about the experience. I don't know how you're going to receive that. What kind of experience, what kind of feeling you're going to say, but maybe that's the way I'm going to approach.
Yeah.
One thing I learned about that, like if I go over there, what the fuck, Cindy? You keep moving your chair up over there, you might gonna be like, whoa, what are you saying? But if I say everything okay, how you doing over there?
Yeah.
Notice your knee okay? Or try to do some little approach, which is make myself, that's one thing I enjoy a lot, to go to different sport house, because we talked about before, that moment it is, you just take it off your tag, professor, put in the pocket, now you just, even some people, I know some people, they never call me Carlos. And then you hear people call me Carlos, and at the same time, you're like, a professor, no, please, man, take that's the word on your mouth, please. Let's gonna talk about Carlos. I'm just about to learn right now.
Yeah.
You know, and then you know the person a little bit, the other side, and I never knew, you know. Yeah,
then they can open up too, because they don't have to interact with you on this, like, oh, I need to interact with them on this other power level.
That's crazy. Like some people, like talk here, like 1, 2, 3, then on the other side, you like. I have a lot of friends in the gym. Like I can stay over there for an hour, 2 hours, have a full conversation.
Yeah.
But if someone's still like kind of little icy, still some people
Yeah.
still the ice like, hey professor, hi professor, bye professor.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of my main goals those days to teach. It's not even teach how that they doing how that. I'm try to get close to them to interact if anyone
Yeah.
about
Just make them comfortable in the gym.
make it comfort to talk about jiu-jitsu. If
Yeah.
you're in the gym, yeah, we talk about jiu-jitsu, can talk about many different topics of the conversation, but bring it up jiu-jitsu just to make them feel a little bit more.
Yeah.
You
It's
can
okay.
tell
It's
sometimes you
okay.
can see
Yeah.
them like I get a little bit more relaxed. They're like, man,
Yeah.
relax. I got in that too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I had my teacher didn't like as much talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be do what I used to do in back in the day, or I used to be what I went to do. I tried to do opposite those days.
I try a lot of it is
I tried
like,
to do 75% of those
Different.
things I went through. I did those days. I tried to not do it. Sometimes you like, oh,
I just did that thing.
I just didn't think. Sometimes I have able to, oh guys, I apologize on this. I'm being able, one thing I learned those days, to be honest, the last 5 years, I learned very well to say apologize.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest with you. In jiu-jitsu sport, because for a long time I was thinking like, I'm the badass guy. I'm the badass guy. I'm the badass guy. I'm the badass guy. But no.
When I think is harder and more tough, like it, and I think you garner, and I think about this, and I have a very hard time like saying I'm sorry with some things, or like, you know, really meaning it and like embracing like, no, that's not, you don't need to approach this in this, like, you don't have to always be tough. You don't have to do that. And like, I think like there's like, I see people who are tough that it's like, okay, you're tough. But then you see people, it's like, you just handled this in this whole other way that's like way more amazing. Like way more like, it's not like physically tough. It's like,
how to handle
it's
this
like,
stuff.
it's elegant. Like you just handled that situation, that conversation. Kind of you see it in just like, you're handling your life in this way that's like, I in my like jiu-jitsu analogy, you know, like it's like going through life with like crude white belts life skills, and then the people who have like beautiful playful jiu-jitsu life skills, you know, and they can like, oh, everyone has the same amount of problems.
Everyone.
You know, and then the people that it's like, I don't want to be the person that like rages on people when I have problems. I want to be the person that like floats through it and gets through it and like brings everyone else through it and makes it better, you know. And you see, it's like, one, selfishly, it looks a hell of a lot easier if you can figure out those skills and go through life that way. Than when you see people like, man, I see you trying so hard and everything just like backfires and you're just getting more frustrated. And I see people like kind of like doing that, and it's like, well, I see why you're angry, but it's like, it's just like circular. You're just making yourself more angry and shit working less well for yourself. You know, it's just like, relax and let it happen. Don't freak out.
I usually have that problem. I just when I want something, I want something.
I'm gonna get it straight ahead.
Every time, one time, Rodrigo always say to me, like, he's one that a person I take like by lead example a lot, because what the guy went through or he's going through everything.
Every day.
He's always telling me like, more you want, more the thing can stay away from you.
Yeah. And sit back.
Sit back.
If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
If it's yours, it's yours. No one gonna take.
Yep.
Don't try to take someone else. Don't try to step someone else. Just they're your friends.
Yeah.
They're your friends. They come here. Yes, they have the business part. They pay whatever, but they not just pay for that. They
There's
just
more
wanna,
than that.
They more than that. They wanna give you like a little bit. They wanna show you who they are. They wanna learn with you. They wanna be your friend.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't want to be your friend, but as long as they being respect, you respect them, you guys still have a conversation.
Yeah.
You guys, you just relax, let it go, and try to be with them. Don't try to be in front of them, think you're going to tell this, you the boss. No, because more you try to push, less you're going to be.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's that like, if you lead out of like a place of like anger and fear,
Everybody
people may follow
feel.
you, but they're not gonna like it. They're not, and they're not gonna be loyal. It's like, if you know, and I try and think about that now, like with competing, I used to be very like scared of losing, very like like it was like unhinging almost, like, oh my God. Unacceptable. I'm a terrible person. I am the worst person. I'm gonna obsessively fix all these flaws that I have to like be okay with everything. And then I started like, oh, I think there's power in like, you know, I go and try. People see you fail. You just come back to the gym. I'm like, win or lose, what do I do every day? Come back to the gym, and there's always a class there. They're always there. You know, just winning, if you don't have a team, people are come and go. You know, people are interested in you, not interested to talk to you. It's like, but if you build a true team of people, that's like, they're just going to be there every day. And that's like made me like way more stable. Like, oh, I have that always to come back to. It's like I can compete. I don't really worry about it. I try like hyper not worry about it now, because it's like I just want it to be fun. For a long time, not fun. Totally not fun. And it's like, I'm just going to go in, see if my jiu-jitsu is good enough today. And then I'll be teaching 5-year-olds.
That's what I think I learned about our Gracie Barra team over here in Washington, especially because on the first tournament I was in 2012. I went to Pan Am's.
Yeah.
I was still kind of getting better ideas of the team, family, everybody, friend, whatever. It's jiu-jitsu those days better than back in the day. Once I realized that when they're coming back, in my mind, I get on a plane and back home, like, man, a lot of the students are going to leave. They're going to look at me like a disappointing. Because I lost, you know. But it was when I got on first thing I got on the gym, I was from the airport, I straight up to the gym. Was a thing I will never forget. As soon as I opened the gym, everybody clap.
Yeah.
They clapped, applaud me, like, yo, in my mind, like, what the hell? Why they applause for a loser?
Yeah.
That wasn't my first thought, was do it like a little embarrass myself those days, but what it showed me, like, the group, you know, like, they believe on me. They believe on me. If I lose or win, they believe in me. I keep coming back and go back to the normal back, they think.
Well, in the normal process. And if you always win, it's like kind of just like, I think that's unattainable for people. Not everyone, you know, it's like, oh, I think people like us is like, well, they have to like us as teachers based on what we do every day. It's like, what I do every day is why you like me. Is why you like me is like I show up every day, and it's like I'm not even great every day. But I show up and I try as good as I can and try and care. Like that's like just be engaged with everyone, be open with everyone, show the best technique you can, and everything else should work out for itself, I think, you know?
That's one thing I still have on my personal goals. I still have like on my personal person, be a world champ, whatever, this kind of stuff. It's a personal thing, but at the same time, I still going to compete because I know what I'm doing. It's not even when I lose or when I won. It's when I lose, because I can show my students or the persons around me, like even me as they take me as like a number one, or it's a student. Sometimes they feel you there, but you still can lose. They realize you're a regular person. You're not magical. A superhero. You're not a magical. You still competing. You can lose. You can win. You're still the same person you met. You still like, and also give me how they are autocorrect myself even when I'm losing, because that's when I have to be more humble.
Yeah.
Coming back, I have to talk to people like how they lost. And it's funny, those days I take as a joke, like, the guy almost broke my leg, you know, have a fun, because I think that's how it's supposed to be. Those days, it's not like, that guy beat me.
I didn't miss and I
didn't need it. I lost because I was overweight. And no. That day, the guy's jiu-jitsu was better than mine. He did what I was supposed to do. I want you to realize that. You know, that was his day. He was better than me. Nothing changed. My skill level not going to change because I lost one day.
Yeah.
What I'm going to teach you today, I'm going to teach you today to not lose this way, because I haven't been there. It's not feeling good, but at the same time, make my jiu-jitsu better.
Yeah, you learn a little bit.
You learn just a lot, you know.
Well, and it's like sometimes, you know, it's like we all hate to lose. I hate to lose, but then it's like, and then, you know, there's like, oh, win or learn, and then it's like, I just want to win. But then you're like, okay, no, I do learn way more from a loss, and not when you really try at something and it doesn't work, it's like, well, you learned about all the trying you can put in. You learned about,
How you can make
who
this
your team
better.
is there, how things work. You get experience, and then it's like, okay, we're going to go back. It's going to fire you up to, like, push that person a little harder next time. It's like, I don't care, but yes, I do. Yes, I do. I want to win.
We all do, but it's less than back in the day. Back in the day was unacceptable. Even my teacher, like, how can you fucking lose for this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, those days, like, even my teacher, first thing, like, when I lose, that's the first thing he's always asking me, do you got hurt?
Yeah.
If you not got hurt, that's great. You learn, You just need to a little bit this, a little bit, because he's my teacher. He needs to correct me, but the most important, the motivation he's bringing to me, giving me the energy to give to my students, and the motivation when they lose, I need to go over there, man.
Yeah.
Don't stuck yourself on that thing, because, tomorrow you can win, the next day. It's all a long process.
You're not
going to stop right now. You're not going to stop, right? No, then...
Yeah.
Few more gonna come. Don't worry about. We just need to learn by the time,
Yeah. Well, and then now it's like I kind of like, well, at like the black belt level, well, everyone's good. So it's good. You're just like,
you don't
everything
have no way to
it's just like you
run
just
away.
have good matches and like go and like compete every time you can, and it's kind of like I feel lucky to even be completing now still sometimes. Like I'm like, dude, I don't even know if I should be doing this, but it's like super fun.
I have the same idea, especially you teach the whole week, like on a Friday and a Saturday, you have to look yourself like I don't know if I can do.
I'm gonna have to rest up after this one,
Rest up after that, but when you less expect you from another tournament, you like people like, oh, but you say you was gonna rest. I'm like, yeah, but how can?
Yeah.
You going? I need to go with you, So it's making more motivation those days to give me a lot of motivation to my students when my students come to me. I try to create a relationship with them so they can come to me and say whatever they want to say in the moment outside the mat. Or even inside, we always have the respect, but the excitement they come to us to say about Jiu-Jitsu. Back in the day, sometimes I look at my old instructor was not that much exciting to see my excitement.
Yeah.
Some sort of moment they was excited, some moment it was not. But those days I try to correct myself to be always happy about that, because I'm involved on that. I'm part on that too. Even I don't want to that, but I'm pushing them to do what they want to do. The fear, they don't have the fear to be in a gym like, oh, I cannot tell my teacher I'm going to compete. I don't know if I'm going to allow me to compete. Even back in the day, back in the day, my old school had the thing like, you go for a tournament, you have to do a tournament in the gym because just the best go.
Only the good guys go.
Only the good guys go. No,
and you're not going to get like pushed up in rank until the other guy move up out of your division.
Exactly. Those days here in my gym and others' gym, I have a student 3 months doing jiu-jitsu and doing exactly a tournament. I first thing I tell, man, whatever, no matter what, you have to do at least one tournament in your life.
Yeah.
They ask me, what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm like, no, man, you have to know what we feel inside, what you feel. If you doesn't like, you're going to tell me on the next day, Professor, I doesn't like, I will be respect to you, because each one have the one goal, personal goal in jiu-jitsu, But I believe 70% they're going to come to me and say, what is the next?
Yeah.
I always recommend. What you think, Professor? I go, doing.
Yeah.
Just doing, just so you can see what's going to happen. Then we talk about, I talk to them after that tournament, because I want to know by then they have a little sort of experience in the tournament. And then I'm going to be able to tell him, like, what you feel.
Yeah.
I feel the same. Oh, what is your adrenaline? Professor, you have some people today that like, I don't know, how can you handle, I believe you don't have adrenaline. I said, no, man. I look at them and I'm like, man.
Yeah, you're like, I'm alive. It's like I am a person.
I'm a human. Some days I don't even, the day before the tournament, I don't even sleep.
No.
I'm just trying to show less as I can, but my adrenaline is still the same. The same way you can break your arm, I can break my arm. The same way you can choke the guy, you can choke it, we all human, the
Do you
fear is
have
the
any
same.
special stuff you do, like to try and control your anxiety or like nervousness for tournaments?
I have a few things I do, Cindy, a lot. Once, like as a food wise, I start in there. I usually like to eat a pound of steak the day before.
Okay.
It's just like once I like to be a little bit heavy, and it's like I think I do it myself. I just prepare stuff. And I try to think about the tournament like no more than 3-4 hours before the tournament.
Okay. You don't like.
I don't cut up myself, think about what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do. No, I try to be relaxed in the mood, talk to people.
Regular day.
Walk. I like to when I'm in a tournament. I get a very, very like it's normal. I don't stop more than 10 minutes in one place. I keep moving myself and move and think because I wanna keep my brain too. And by the close to the tournament, I try to shut myself out with everyone.
Yeah.
I like try to isolate myself, be in one corner, just be the guy just watching people, just watching, think about what I'm gonna do, because it's not just like a lot of people saying, oh, on the black belt level. No, it's every single levels, but on a particular black belt level, you can't make a mistake.
Yeah.
If you in blue belt, purple belt, some lower belts, sorry my the way to count the belt, lower belt, sometimes you can make one small mistake, you still can coming back, survive through the one.
Yeah.
But those days I see a lot of, especially in the master division, you get older, the experience, you get a little bit more.
Little smart, wily guys.
Smart, wily guys. They wait. If you make one small mistake, they're not gonna lose the opportunity. It's. That's what I need to be very focused on that. It's the same thing. If you're gonna cut something, you need to be very careful because if you're not cut yourself, if you're not doing well, you're gonna cut yourself.
Yeah.
That's how I think that jiu-jitsu sport on the black belt level. That's how I'm being thinking those days. It's still every other belt is really tough. I believe I have some blue belts, purple belt I'm watching. Sometimes I will be very honest. I don't want to train with them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm be very honest because I know if I train with them, I'm gonna lose a lot of opportunity, a lot of position. Maybe I'll not lose the mat, maybe I'll lose the mat, but it will be a tougher than it will be a little running for me.
A little run and a little like
Yes, and I don't want to feel like whoa. I don't mind. I train everyone, but
how do you feel getting older? Do you feel like getting older or the older you get, you feel a little more nervous?
Yes. Of course, like
I feel nervous. I'm like, well, I was little and always felt nervous, but now I feel much more nervous. Like I'm sometimes, and I just kind of like pieces together of like, I think I gave myself PTSD from jiu-jitsu in some ways because like, especially after injuries, I like, and maybe you can tell me if you felt this way, because it's like, well, some people get to like, as maybe a student or something, if they have an injury, they can take off. But then like, okay, I have an injury, now I need to come back, then I need to be here with the injury, and then I need to still be doing things. And I know there are times, even like when I'm like recovered from the injury, it's like I'll be driving to work and like maybe something feel a little off, and then I feel like in my head like, is today the day that like my neck blows up? Like, and I start to have a panic attack. And I like, I'm just like, no, you don't feel like that, or like how do and then some days I'm like I can't train, or like I'm just like no, I'm like literally like a little scared to train, and then it's like oh, I need to figure out how to like fix that, and that's I think like, well, that's why I try and like really choose my training partners. Back in the day I think people like, oh, you train with everyone, and now it's a little much different. I feel a little very nervous, but then now I feel like that's like, okay, a lot of that I think is like, well, you need to be way more open to tapping. You need to be way more open to like maybe instead of the jiu-jitsu, kind of the style of jiu-jitsu where you impose, the style of the jiu-jitsu, I think like Saleh reminds me of this style of jiu-jitsu where like everything come at him and he just like, woof, it just goes by, And it's like, I want to learn that magical jiu-jitsu. I think there's a
I wish I could do that jiu-jitsu if the guy does.
You know, and I start to I believe there's even more power in jiu-jitsu that I don't understand. I have to almost believe that so I can keep doing it. But it's like, yeah, the feeling of like sometimes like getting older, especially, is like, I believe there's power in these positions. So I also know that they can hurt me. You know, when you're a little kid, you don't think like all these stupid things you do can hurt you. And then as I think of what a parent probably feels like, of like, no, those are all dangerous. Stop. And it's like, I like watch my students sometimes and I'm like, stop. You're about to break your neck. You know, and they don't even know.
What, Professor? No, I'm fine, Professor.
I'm fine. It's like, no, you're like 1 inch away from death. You know, like now I'm like, oh, how do I kind of overcome that? And then it's like, okay, Cindy, don't be ridiculous. It's okay. You just have to be smart. But I have these like visions of like, is today the day that, you know, and I don't think that. But then what happens? Something like what happened to Rodrigo happens, right?
I think about this every day, you know.
It's scary. And I think about it for you. I think about it for me. I think about it for like everyone who gave to jiu-jitsu, you know, like, oh.
For me, seeing I'm in a moment like, I'll be honest, I just got out of my 20s, right?
Yeah. You're still young.
Yes,
You're still young.
But I always tell
Start
them,
now.
Start now. Actually, I have the idea. Always I tell people. Sometimes people. I heard a lot. I know you probably hear that a lot in the gym too. Oh man, I'm so old.
Yeah.
Sometimes I tell that for people too because I'm starting kind of getting my mentality on that point because
little gun shy of
I got scared every day. Say people, but you're so young. I say, yeah, but my body been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
My body's all beat up, guys, and my age getting close now.
Yeah.
You know, I used to be thinking like when I was like 16 years old, the guy was popping my ankle like 4-5 times. Boom, like, okay, put the ice like 5-10 minutes, and the next 30 minutes you've been training. The next day your foot not even swollen.
Yeah.
Those days, if that happened, my foot pop one time, and the next day like a sausage, looks like a sausage, hurting like you, like, man. I kind of come to the things in my mind. My foot is broke, man. My foot is broke.
Yeah.
And then
what am I going to do? My job, by all these things.
How can I teach?
Yeah.
They don't gonna believe my jiu-jitsu is great because sometimes I'm so broke here, but they don't believe in that.
And they can't even see it because I can't do anything.
I can't exactly.
I felt like that when I had that shoulder surgery. You know, and I just
hide it for them.
I was just starting the school, and it was me.
Yeah, I remember that. You like
and
what
then
I'm
Dave
gonna
Hawley,
do?
and just like we're both little, and I have a sling, and guys are gonna come in here.
250 pounds.
Yeah.
You look like, what am I gonna do? They're gonna rip me off.
Yeah, you know, I'm like all the bad things about like my like, oh, I'm never the strongest and all that. It's like I had to learn like better jiu-jitsu technique, and then I had to start to like learn like coping mechanisms of like, how do I get these people to like me? How do I reinvent how I teach to like do it with one arm and not die? And how do I like get really good with my words so I can like have these people where they can do it all? And you know, it's like, oh man, now I'm just like, okay, I have to just keep trying to duct tape everything together so I can keep going. I think it's like, you know, I would like everyone, I'm like, no, it doesn't. You think you recovered, right? All those times your foot popped 5 times as a kid, you thought it was better. It wasn't better. It just won't show up.
Looks like
for
a bank
20
account.
It's like a bank account.
You
or
put
like
a little bit.
200,000 miles on the car. Yeah, now everything breaks. Nothing broke for 10 years. Now everything falls apart.
And one of the other things you say too, I'm still, even like I say, like I'm just got out of my 20s, I still believe my body, like actually right now I'm 34 years old, I'm on the top, like on the best part of my training now.
Yeah, peak physical,
thanks. But those days I still choose my partners.
Yeah.
I still choose my part. Some parts some days I look at the guy and say, man, I'm sorry, I can't train with you today.
Yeah.
If I train with you tomorrow, I'm not gonna be able to teach you because I'm not gonna be able to get out of the bed, you know. Or my mind is saying that maybe not, but my body's still hurt in that moment. Well, I have to pick apart in those days too.
For me, I think it was also like, okay, not just like, oh, you train smart. It's like kind of like valuing like, oh, it's worth it for you, like, you know, like I think people like, oh, you could do this. And it's like, well, I could, but it's too big of a risk. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and people I don't think like always put that, it's like, you know, for you and me, for people who like use your body, it's like, this is what makes me money. And like
Exactly.
this
That's
is
the
this
best part
isn't
to
like
say.
this isn't like
My
well I
tool.
could do it. This is my tool. And I kind of think like I had one guy who I trained under a little bit, and he was like, you need to think of yourself like a Ferrari, and you wouldn't like put a Ferrari in a truck. You know, those things don't race. Those things don't like play together. You're this
Sports car.
sports small roadster, and you wouldn't like go in your
To the
job
off-road.
for like a pickup of F550, you know. And it's like, man, and I don't think like, you know, it was like, I think coming up, like I think a lot of times people are like, oh, have Cindy spar with that person because she's like so little, it'll seem like more magical, you know. Go get the girl to beat up the guy, and then it's like,
Sometimes people say the same. I say, man, I don't think it's gonna be the way you guys say.
and it's like, dude, I'm not your monkey. Finally, I was
Yeah,
just
exactly.
like, you know what? I was that person, and I have taken on those miles, you know. And that's where I feel like in the coaching now, it's like I try to tell people like, it's like, man, I already paid those dues, and I'm not even asking you to pay those dues, really, you know. But don't think I need to keep. But me not asking you to do it doesn't mean that I'm going to keep always paying the dues for you. Right? You're mistaken. I'm saying no one
You
should
are.
pay the dues. Not that I'm going to allow you to beat me up so that you feel okay. Right? You know, I struggle with that because it's like, you know, you go light with people, and it's like, well, what does light mean? Light means like so you get to win. It's you know, the other person, you want me to go just under you so you can win. But that's sometimes at a detriment of this person, you know. And it's like trying to explain that concept to people is
a little
different.
bit difference.
It's different.
Yes, and the age getting closer to just like help him, like to be honest, being help a little bit too, because like we talk
Yeah.
about make our jiu-jitsu a little bit more smarter.
Yeah.
Because like I say, I'm not gonna put in my place anywhere everywhere, you know, those
No.
days. Because now I don't need to prove nothing.
No.
I'm not a chief. I'm not a this. I
Yeah.
don't need to, like I'm not your monkey.
Yeah.
You think you're my monkey, but your monkey doesn't do anything. I'm just
Yeah.
here to. Now I wanna pass through what I wanna learn, what I did, my experience. I wanna share, and also other than just not outside the teacher, I wanna be training every single day as much as I can without
Yeah.
our teacher.
Fun training, quality training that you can like.
I'm not gonna
flow
train if
through
you
things.
for you can hurt myself just because you're my good friend.
So or so you feel great today.
For you can break myself, I'm gonna be like and then make the next day make a little fun joke even if you don't want. Just
not a friend.
No.
It's not a friend. I don't need those friends.
Exactly, I
need-
don't.
You know, that's where it's like I think that like, yeah, is it? Yeah, I think it's like, well, and I have someone I know that's like, kind of talking like, oh, it's so funny. I got a concussion. I did this, and it's like, yeah, you like to train hard, and it's like, no, I think you're mistaken. I think you're mistaken.
Yes.
That I've sustained a lot of injuries, but I'm not celebrating those. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think that makes me tougher. I think if I continue to do that, it's gonna make me dumber. You know?
Exactly,
And it's
you
like,
know.
is the like, you know, and I see some people and you see new people like, oh, I think it's tough. And back in the day, like, oh, I'd never tap. And like, it's like, dude.
You have a tap,
dude,
but you have a bicep surgery,
you do
elbow
all these
surgery.
things. And it's like,
For what?
it's like, man, a lot of times when I got injured, I wish I could have tapped. It wasn't even a tapping situation. I was
wish
just
I
getting
could have had that just not
slammed on my head or something, you know? And it's like, man, I don't want to teach the jiu-jitsu that teaches people that like really are functionally not worth saving. You know, it's like we're talking about self-defense, but it's like, well, when the place you go to learn self-defense is where you're getting more brutalized, that doesn't sound smart to me.
It's not. It doesn't seem like self-defense to me too.
You know, so I like really like revamp like, wait, the first self-defense I can do, and I tell my students this is like, you can always say no to someone. You can always say no. You know, and that used to not be a choice. You partner with who you partner with. It's like, no, you may not you don't get to pick and choose your partners, but you get to say no.
But one thing I learned the way, like, yeah, you can say no, but depends how you're gonna say no.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see people. I had to see people. One time I had a really good experience in the gym here. One of our students, one of the teachers, actually, his goal, like, that's his last. Every time I see people training, that's his last training of his life.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
And
there's the mixed messages underneath it, because you can take it every way, and it's like, that's where that experience of jiu-jitsu, it's like, well, you can say no to duck people, and you're not going to get anything out of jiu-jitsu. Or you can say no if you have like a serious concern, and only you know that. You know, only each person can introspectively know. But it's like, if you cheat jiu-jitsu, you're going to really cheat yourself. And you see, that's why I struggle with that, because it's like, sometimes you don't want the person to be able to say no, because you're like, I'm here to push you. But then there's those like, I kind of look at it like, well, did you come here to try? You know, like, because it's like, if you really can't, you can't. But it's like, you need to also like push to see how far you can, you know? And like, are you saying no because you don't want to lose? Or are you saying no because you're literally having a heart attack? I've had, I've had students where it's like, no, you like literally like were in class and then went to the cardiac surgery place, and then the other guy is like saying no and hiding in the bathroom, and they're barely even sweating.
Okay, at the same time, if they want to say to you like no because you're gonna hurt me, or the other one can say to you no because I might not gonna give you the training you're looking for today.
No, not today. I have these things not gonna be the best for me, but I'm gonna do in the future.
Exactly.
Or no, I can't do that, and then I realize my place as this is as high as I can get. And that doesn't mean like you'll never be a black belt or anything, but I think sometimes I find that there are some people that train, and like, say if I try as like, oh, I'm giving to you moves, I'm giving to you in our training these things, and then I think that person understands there's a mutual respect.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden they walk out and I smashed this person, I'm a champion, I did this or that, and it's like, you know, wait a second. You know, and I used to very
you out. Now you're gonna tell me you just smashed me.
Very mad about that, but then it's like, you didn't even see what reality is, and you still won't see reality. I see people like posting things, and it's like, you weren't even training. You were not even training. You were like sitting talking, and then you got the pictures, and it's like, I wonder what that. I almost am like, I don't need to get too mad about that, because it's like, that person's life is probably pretty fucking pathetic. Do you know what I mean? When you really like think back on it, it's like, what are they really getting out of that? Because it's like, who are you showing you're doing all these things to because you didn't do them? You know? And it's like, so I do get frustrated. I make fun of people like this and frustrated sometimes. But then you think later, it's like, well, should I go and cheat myself and lie and make these things up about myself? Or do I want to be on the path of like, well, I may not always be a winner and I can't post winning pictures all the time, but what I can do is share how I thought about the journey, and it's like, and I'm going to like, win or lose, I'm going to put everything into it. You know, like everything I got is going to go in the direction that I say is going. It's not always going to be pretty. It's not going to be good, but it's like, I think, and there's times where I didn't put everything into it, and I need to, like, I can't tell everyone like, oh, I did. It's like, I put this. This is what I put. My weight cut. Did I put everything into the weight cut for Pan Am's or Master Worlds? No. But what I said I was going to put, no lemonade. Did no lemonade? Not good enough? Next thing. You know, but it's not like, oh, I toiled really hard and all. No, it just didn't do it. I didn't do this. This is what I did. That's it. You know?
Those days, sometimes people hide in a self in the words, but on the wrong words.
Yeah.
Like, you went straight up to say, I couldn't make it the thing because of this.
Yeah, and it was my fault, and I didn't do it.
And you didn't take it. Like, one thing I learned about when the student, they used to be fighting against each other at the time, but the other person at the time, oh, because I lost, because of my hip.
Yeah.
Oh, because I lost. I learned one thing, that person say, like, man, I look at them and like, your life, it's completely pathetic, because, I mean, you have to get on a point to take yourself down. You already lose. Win or lose, you're learning.
Yeah. Everyone's seeing how you're taking this.
The way you learn, you think you learn it different, because you take away the person's victory.
Yeah.
To make yourself feel better. Yep. For someone else to go over there later on, tell, oh, I'm so sorry for your hip, but you decide to sign up. You decide to sign up. You do all these things, and then all the things, I'm gonna do
this is the reason I couldn't do that. This is the reason. It's like, just take you know what I think people like is
take straight up. You
ownership.
Lose, you lose. Bye-bye.
I totally did that. Yeah, that was totally my fault. It's like, I think I like that more. I like that more.
Those days I like to make a fun of myself because I'm a very I
It's
try
funny.
to be a happy guy. People, the last 3 tournaments I competed, I lost, and the guy almost broke my leg. People say, "What happened to your fight?" I said, "Man, I make a mistake. I tried to touch his foot. He's almost broke my leg. I was gonna call the cop for him because he was on the take home."
Yeah.
Same thing the other one. How did you lose? I tap.
Yeah, fast.
Oh, did you tap fast? 2 minutes, man. If I didn't tap, I was going to take a nap,
Yeah.
What happened? No, he was better than me.
Yeah.
I learned this, I can't take someone else's victory away because of my mistakes.
Yeah.
I need to sign up. I sign up for the thing. I need to be need to be fair with myself. I need to sign up. Because why you lose? Because I can't make weight.
Yep. Or the rules and stuff, and it's
no,
I can't argue rules. Some rules I don't like, but it's when you sign up, those are the rules we agree to.
You know the rules. You agree with. You put in the little mark box over there. We agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's your fault. You don't have nobody's fault.
Yeah.
That's what I'm being thinking those days. I always tell the students, especially when they lose, which is the most crucial part for me sometimes, because before. Oh, you do so good, but those days I try to be more realistic.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry we lost, but we should be more on this. We should maybe focus on this. Maybe
give us the opportunity to figure out what we're going to start training.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we need to sit down later on, see where we make a mistake for we can do back again. But I need to both do in the commitment. I will do, you do yours.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people just compete and then so many times I hear that before. I lost because my coach was not there.
They did. Oh yeah, I tried my new thing. I'm try to it's because it's stressful to be a coach. I find it very stressful.
So much.
And it's for me, for what I tell my students, I try not to encourage them one way or another to compete. It's you just decide what you want to do, and whatever you decide, I support it. We'll be here to support you. And then it's if I want my own medals, I need to go and win those. And it's when you hear people oh yeah, the coach didn't do this, it's man, I did all the stuff. Every day I showed up to teach, and that's what it's you don't even need me there to coach. You know who you need? There's nothing you can say coaching that's gonna win a match. I don't really think, it's you need a person there, and it's it should be anyone on the team should be there. Anyone on this team should be there, and we should have a strong enough team where it's you don't need me. You need friendly face that knows your game, especially if you maybe I don't do everything you do. You need the person that's there who's gonna see you.
I heard one time somebody old school, really really old school too, talk. His mentality changed a little bit too, but one time he said to me, "Man, you know why people keep telling me to go coach, but sorry, who's gonna win? And that moment, if it's his day, the guy's day, I can be screaming as much as I can over there, giving my headache, getting me sweating, losing, but maybe the guy gonna win. Maybe it's you didn't hear, maybe didn't say. And sometimes at the same time, coach can make worse.
That's what I feel when I feel
sometimes
if I can coach and I start to get super anxious, it's I bet this is confusing the person more.
Exactly, because you gotta nerves the person outside.
And it's jiu-jitsu is no one can really, I think, if you have okay, this is this dedicated guy, we have this system, and that's all you do. But as a student, we have 100 and something students. You have all these people. You're trying to understand all their games. It's okay, I believe, I like to be freeform too. You go be you. Your jiu-jitsu is going to come out of you.
In your time, whatever you want to do, I'm here to support you.
And I'm going to help you, whatever you want me to tell you. But it's just go be you, and then we're going to just
have a fun together.
Do the next thing.
I try to do this. Let's go have a fun together. Whatever you want to do. I don't know what you want to do right now in the moment, but if I feel you want to do something, I'm going to support you to do in your time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you to do this because I want to. No.
Sometimes I don't know.
I'm going to follow you. I'm going to follow what you want. What do you want?
Yeah.
I usually ask, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to just call the time? Okay. Do you want me to tell you how great you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whichever.
Whatever you feel like a comfort for you. I have some students one day, as I'm giving the opportunity to coaching people, you hear some things I have one kid Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus looked to me one day Professor, can you slap me on the face? I'm too sleepy, yo. First time in my whole 25 years of jiu-jitsu, Yes, professor, slap me on the face. I was like, I did one, I did it two. Him, professor, it's more harder. Like yo. But that's what we do. You want to support the team. Like I was like in my mind, like he wanna die, okay. I'm open for you. I'm gonna support you, but I'm not gonna kick you. But you wanna die, I'm gonna do. You know. But was it was funny to say because like at the same time I have a student say, just watch what I'm doing, professor. Then tell me later. Okay. Yeah. I'm being over there for 10 minutes, not say anything.
Yeah. Just be here.
Just be here, professor. Someone tell to me like, oh. Call me the time.
Yeah.
Those days I'm not over there. Hey, you're gonna have to do this, because maybe it's not your thing.
Yeah. I've done that before and then I'm like, what are you doing? Don't do that. And I've had people do it to me.
Many times in my mind like, what the fuck are you doing? But yes, go. Good, because that's your thing.
My funniest thing, and I'm like, this is totally just like me too, is like, okay, so I have one tournament and I did my weird shit. My Bora Bora shit. And, Rodrigo's like, it's like totally wrong. Everything I'm doing is classically totally wrong. 100%. And I totally agree. And it was like I hadn't been training over there. I'm over in Kirkland.
Right.
I'm doing my weird shit. And Rodrigo's like, no, Cindy, no, what are you doing? You're giving your back. Oh, good job. Good job. And I think it's like, I think that's hilarious. I think that's like why the fuck would he know what to tell me to do? Because I'm doing some weird shit. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's like totally, he doesn't do that. No one does that. Why would he? It's like, no, I'm just stoked he's there. He's just there. That's what, and I just thought it was funny in the video. You can hear, no, good job. Pulled ahead. Good job. Like, yeah,
I see that before too.
Perfect. And I'm totally coached like that. Like, oh, no. Oh, good job.
What are you doing? Where are you going? Where are you going? Wow, that was a nice position. Good job, eh?
Good job.
On to the next. But in your mind, you're like, what's going on here? I don't know. Sometimes people like, man, you're a good coach. I'm like, no, man, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. To believe it or not, I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing because, but you tell, no, I'm just, those days I'm trying to follow what you're doing. I'm just trying to copy you.
Yeah.
And I'm a very little tricky guy. I like to try to listen to the other coach too to see because I'm
he's gonna do this.
Oh, he's gonna do this. Oh, don't let him do this, okay?
Yeah, that.
Because I don't want to change the passion over there you has over there because that happened before. I see like no.
Oh.
Okay, good job, eh? Nice.
Well, in jiu-jitsu, it looks like one way, but the stuff you don't see. It's like you don't see, and it's like, well, I can think one way, and it's like, oh no, obviously that was the easiest thing to do because it just happened.
Exactly. It's so like
you think you know it, but it's like you even like when people are telling you, and you're like, no, you're not seeing all this other stuff, how it feels this way, and then sometimes it's like, oh yeah, if they felt that way, it's like 100% right, but this person doesn't feel like that. Dude, I'm trying, it's not working.
The one the most for me hardest for me to coaching, it's kids.
Oh yeah.
Because they're all over the place. You're
saying one thing and they've already done 5 other things.
Exactly, and it's so fast. You don't know. Sometimes, to be honest, I can't keep it up. Sometimes with the coach, my kids, they going like I'm telling them to pass the guy, but they already in the bar, or telling them escape. They being already in the other position, you, oh, it's so fun to see them compete. It's like
I like when I ref them. And you're like, yeah, there should be 500 points, but no one stayed in any position long enough. So you're like, so much literally happened, and it's still 0-0.
To be honest, I don't coach kids. One of the reasons because sometimes one it wasn't my fault too. One time I was just because one of my students was competing. I turned my head 2 seconds.
Yeah.
When I come back was 5 steps difference was the position.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was gonna happen, but ended up didn't have any points in that situation. Just stayed looks like 2 little scrolls. They end up in the same position what
just happened?
What is happening?
Yeah.
Who was in top? And then sometimes you're very scared to make the bad call or the good call. Like adults can't stop over in the same position. 20.
They get tired.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they have to stop. Little kids don't get tired.
I never see little kids get tired. Like they end when we stop the fight. They say no. I did. I wanna go. I wanna go.
I don't need my 5 minutes. I'm ready.
I'm waiting. You wanna go? No. We can go again. Go again. Bring in the next one. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, that's like coaching. We do like. Oh, they do the whole class, and then they do like bulldog at the end, and it's like, my God, we literally just sparred for an hour, and you guys gonna just like run like crazy. Mm-hmm. No one's even tired. No, it's insane. I wish I had that. I wish.
Sometimes I look like, man, I wish I have half of the energy this kid has on my age today, because not being like in the competition wise, but even the classes, everything was going to be much better.
Just to enjoy life.
Just to enjoy the
Just
life.
imagine if you just like walked around like
go like I was going to do in like a 3, 4, 5 sports, the difference, I would say to you. Those days I cannot even keep it up as much with just jiu-jitsu, Yeah. I have to do, I go to the snowboard because it's like a sort of time in a year. Just so the time in a year, that's it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, sometimes, my like you said, the age coming, like you have to, and be every day is try to be, how can I be a little bit, how can I be more smart in jiu-jitsu?
Put more money in the body. Put more body fund.
Exactly. How can I make my body hurts less?
So let me ask you this. Because I know you like go see AJ sometimes at Advanced Manual Therapy or Advanced Athletic Training, Athletic Training Institute. But do you do, what else stuff? Like I just started doing like, the Wim Hof stuff.
What
do you do the cold showers and the weird breathing?
The cold shower, I do the cold shower since as a little kid.
Okay, so you do all that.
I do cold shower every, like at least I start in a warm shower.
Yep.
But I do the cold shower.
Burn to the cold at the end.
But it's funny part because not that I was wanna do that. Just because
no water.
It's just like as a kid, because I used to be like little kid, wanna take a shower, half an hour shower.
Yeah.
But you live in a house with 10, 15 people, you have to go quick. And then my grandma always be like, you wanna take a good long shower? Cold shower. And then I got used to.
Yeah.
I do the cold shower. I do the cold shower, but not because of the. It's more for the breathe. I like to expand in my lungs when I go the cold shower. Make I do big loud screams in the shower.
Yeah.
My wife get us sometimes like, what the hell? What are you doing? I'm just open my lungs.
Yeah.
And one thing I do, I've been doing a lot lately in the last 4 or 5 competitions. Was I don't know, for somehow make my body like cooling down on the moment to the compete. I like to take a shower like 10, 15 minutes before the tournament.
Right before. Little shock.
If I'm not doing... Exactly. If I'm not doing the actual shower, I will say to you, I'm being dumped 2 bottled waters. I'm going to get wet as much as I can already. People look like, oh, you already sweated. No, that's just water, bro.
Yeah.
Because I give him like a little...
Yeah.
And go. Then I follow AJ when I go to my camps too.
Yeah.
And I try as much as I can. I know it's harder for us when we teach more than 20 classes a week.
Yeah.
Try to find a part to go to work out.
You do a lot of
I do twice a week. I try to.
Yeah.
I do like now off season. I try to not doing. I try to focus just on jiu-jitsu because I don't like to be sore.
Yeah.
For something else. I like to be sore if it's from jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I like my back is sore, but I did training well yesterday. My back was moving, was sore because you're training, but I don't like to be sore because you have to lift like some kettlebells. Yes, I don't. Yeah. But I do have to use because jiu-jitsu those days.
You need to do.
A lot of people say, it's just for the weak guy got a technical. Sorry, it's not that way too much.
All levels raising now.
It's especially for competition-wise. You have to be a little bit stronger too. You know, your body you have to be able to be able at least to hold the person top on you, push and then. Yes, I do twice a week. We call basically it's like a monkey bar gym, kind of like a CrossFit wise. I do. But when I do, I only take For every major tournament, I take like a 6 weeks prior. Yeah, and then I do the 6 weeks prior twice a week, which is going to be 12 times, 15 times workout. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And then just like general conditioning through jiu-jitsu.
General jiu-jitsu, just for jiu-jitsu. I'm not going to the gym. I'm not going to do like a bunch of bench press. No, I'm going to do a lot of kettlebells, lot of
stuff.
Functional. Yes, I try to, in my coach, we try to do it close as much to jiu-jitsu because we don't want to get take out of folks, you know.
You spend all this time doing that and then you know techniques.
Exactly. And then they always say like, man, you have a great cardio.
Yeah.
We don't need the cardio. Like, we train jiu-jitsu every single day.
Yeah, you do that all the time and have done it sustained for so long.
I just want to give a little maintenance on my body to be a little bit stronger.
And a little more durability.
A little bit tough to say like, oh, I can handle this like 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Put a little armor on before like hard train.
And it's the whole thing just for that day, basically. You know, just for I try to do that 6 weeks prior for 2-3 days.
Yeah.
You know, which is keeping myself maintenance. That's what I do.
Okay, Carlos, I'm gonna let you go because I know what it's 3:45, and you have the kids rolling in.
Yes, we do have kids 3 to 7, 4:20. Okay. And 7 to 15, 5 o'clock.
Okay, and then you have adults.
Then I have 6 to 7 no-gi. And then 7 to 8 we have a live training. Then 8 to 9:30 we have MMA class.
So you have the rest of your day to go and get it. Did you get to eat lunch?
No, I'm about to get my lunch right now. That's how I do it now. This is
how I'm gonna eat in the car.
Yeah, you see,
I'm gonna drive over and do the same thing.
One day people ask me, "How do you lunch?" I'm like, it's kind of complicated, but it's not. It's not complicated for you. Yeah, I teach on the lunchtime.
Yeah.
I teach on the dinner time.
Yeah.
Now try to find that way to eat.
Stuff in.
Yeah, we just, my old instructor say, we inhale on the food, right on the mat, and teach at the same time.
Totally. But I drink some of these because I'm being vegan now. I have these like meal replacement vegan shakes because I can't keep enough calories. You know, sometimes I like, I have this Huel and you drink and it's like, man, sometimes I'm like, oh, I ate like maybe 500 calories and I've expended like 3,000 all day, you know?
Yeah,
and like, dude, I don't want to do that. Okay, so let's go get you to lunch.
All right, definitely. Cindy, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time.
I'm going to have you back again.
Oh, definitely. It's my pleasure. It was a really, really good time to talk to you.
Thank you, Carlos.
Oh, thank you also, okay?
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, everyone. So we made it through episode 3. Thanks for staying through the whole episode. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Carlos Sievert. I know I really enjoyed listening to it. Like I said, it was recorded back in 2018. It was just as much fun listening to it as it was having it back then. I'm really thankful for Carlos and his friendship and the training and the times we shared together. And I look forward to seeing Carlos, Gracie Barra team, and everyone else back on the mats once we're able to come out of quarantine. Until then, check back at cindyhales.com. I have lots of new episodes coming out. And so, yeah, till then, stay safe and have a great day.